We're going to start with chapter 12, verse 29. The beginning of chapter 12 is the commandment about how to bring the Korban Pesach, commandment of Rosh Chodesh. Chapter 12, verse 29 it tells us what happened. So usually we don't get up to that when we study this parsha together because there's so many interesting things to read about in this parsha. So now we're up to it. So now we'll study it. So it says, "Vayihi b'chatzi halayla," was in the middle of the night. V'Hashem hika kol b'chor be'eretz Mitzrayim, and God struck down every firstborn in the land of Egypt. Mi b'chor Paro hayoshev al kiso, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne, ad b'chor Ashvi, until the firstborn of the captive Asher b'beis Sabor was in the dungeon, b'chol b'chor behema, and also the firstborn of the animal. So right away we have the question: why are the firstborns of the captives being killed? We understand why Pharaoh's firstborns were killed, or the Egyptian taskmasters, but why are the firstborns of the captives, and why are the firstborn animals being killed? What did they do wrong? So let's see what Rashi says. Rashi says, Kol makom shenemer Hashem, wherever it says, and Hashem, it means he and his court. Hu beistino, he and his court. So it says, it was in the middle of the night, Va Hashem, and Hashem, it means he and his court. Shavav washon tosefesu. The letter Vav means and. So it means not just God, God consulted. Okay, so Vashem hika kol b'chor, God struck every firstborn. Rashi tells us, even if there was a firstborn from a different nation who was in Egypt, he was struck down. What did they do wrong? Why are they being struck down? Mi b'chor Paro, even though Paro was also a firstborn, and he was the only one left alive, and about him it says, I kept you alive in order to show my strength. I want to show you my strength in the Yam Suf. Ad Bechor Ashvi, to the firstborn of the captives. The captives, why were they struck down? Rashi says, because they were rejoicing on the downfall of Israel. They were rejoicing in the downfall of Israel. So, and that they should not say, it was our deity which brought the punishments. So there are two reasons why the firstborns of the captives. One, they took pleasure in the downfall of the Bnei Israel. And number two, we don't want them to take credit for it. We were worried that they were going to take the credit. And the firstborn of the maids, that was included because the Torah lists everyone from the most notable to the least notable. And the firstborn of the slave woman is more not able than the firstborn of the captive. Okay.
So that's his explanation for the difference between Revi and Shishi. That in one it says Shifcha and the other one it says Shvi, and it's just one is going even further down.
Well, the question is, I'm trying to understand what the Rashi is saying. I'm trying to understand why Rashi.
This is Shishi, right? It's my
now
bar mitzvah
in the
parsha. That's why.
yeah.
So Revi it says Mi Bechor Shifcha, and here it says Bechor Shvi. So
he doesn't directly comment on that.
No,
Oh,
I'm
he does. He's explaining it.
Bechor Shifcha Bichlal Haya. Maybe not. I'm just asking because he ends with Bechor Shifcha Chashuv.
He explains it like this. He says here, there's a Kobe has a Chumash Benji. So he says like this, that the Torah is listing here from the most significant to the least significant. So it counts the firstborn of Pharaoh to the firstborn of the captive who is considered on a lower level in society than the firstborn of the slave woman. So that's why it's listed here in this manner. But earlier it wasn't listed in that manner. Yeah. So he doesn't say why earlier it doesn't list it like that, but yeah. And also, what did the animals do wrong? What if the firstborn was a woman? Was the woman struck down? What? It doesn't directly say here, but there's a whole question whether or not a firstborn daughter is supposed to fast on the eve of Pesach, on the eve of Pesach. So generally speaking, we assume that she doesn't fast. So okay, fine. What? Yeah, but the assumption is that that's referring to the male firstborn, because the female is not designated as the firstborn. The firstborn is like a technical definition that the firstborn gets a double portion. Bless you. Okay, so but it could be. Vayakom Paro Laila who, and Paro got up that night, Lila, who v'chol avadav, he and all of his servants, Chol Mitzrayim, and all of Egypt, Vatitza Kagadola, and there was a great cry. There was a great cry in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, Ki ein bayit asher ein sham meit. There is no household with nobody dead. Rashi says, Vayakom Paro got up from his bed that night. Not like the manner of the kings, Rashi says, who rise in the third hour of the day. Which Jewish king got up in the middle of the night? Anybody remember? Which Jewish king got up in the middle of the night? Who remembers? We saw this in the Gemara in Sanhedrin around a month ago. King David gets up when the wind blows, the northern wind would blow, and it would start to make his harp musical, and then King David they would come in and they said, we have no money, and so King David said, go and wage a war. That's how you get some money. That's what King David said. He said, go do business amongst yourselves. They said, there's not enough in the fist. He said, the pit can't be filled up from its own. That was what he had said. So Paro got up that night. First he got up, and afterwards his servants. This teaches us that he was going around to the houses of his servants and he got them up. Okay. So Pharaoh used to go around to his servants and wake them up. Yes, Jerry. Hello, Akiva. We're in chapter 12, verse 30. Yes, Akiva.
This is the first time that the term Israelites is mentioned.
Is this true? Where did they mention the Israelites? Where does it mention the Israelites?
Gam B'nai Yisrael. Pharaoh says, get the hell out of here. You and
I mean, you're up to the next pasuk. You're up to verse 31. I didn't get up to that yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I was still looking at this verse. It's a very powerful verse. It says, there's no house where there was no dead there. What does that mean? Rashi, remember we said, what if there was a girl who was a firstborn? Right, there was no house, there was nobody dead in it. Rashi says, if there was a firstborn there, he died. If there was no firstborn, then the oldest one in the house was called the firstborn. As it states, Afani Bechoret Nehu. I too will make him a firstborn. Alternatively, meaning to say, if there was no firstborn, then God made the head of the household the firstborn and he died. So not the girl. Alternatively, the Egyptian woman used to have adulterous relationships, and they would bear children from single men. So therefore, they had multiple firstborns in their household, sometimes 5 to 1 woman, and each one was a firstborn to his father. So they had a lot of, I don't exactly see how this is answering that question. How does it commenting on the fact? The first one says there's no house where there was no dead. I mean, somebody died in every household. But the second one doesn't really meaning even if he was a single person, he would have somebody who died, because he might say, oh, I have no children, but they proved he had children. I want to say something, this pasuk I quoted a lot this year, because there's no house where there was no dead. In Israel, you see how many boys and girls and soldiers and civilians have fallen. It sometimes feels like this pasuk has been fulfilled. Tonight and tomorrow is the yahrzeit of my friend David Schwartz. This is the yahrzeit tonight. David was killed 1 year ago, Al Kiddush Hashem, on the 27th of Teves. In Gaza, he fell along with his chavrusa and several others. So this is a pasuk that I think about a lot. Okay, so now we go right, verse 31, right? Oh wait, let me just see here. I saw a commentary. Not 4 years.
He's been married 4 years.
I don't think so, no.
So it's widow, okay.
No, it's less than that.
Okay, I'll check.
They got married during COVID.
Okay, that could be 4 years.
Mm,
This is David Schwartz.
oh well, they got married during COVID, so that would be,
COVID started.
that was their anniversary. Their anniversary was the day before he was killed.
Okay, that would be 4 years.
That was their 4th anniversary, yeah.
Yeah, because COVID began in March of 2020.
Yeah. So then, so. It says there is, okay. Rashi says that Pharaoh got up at night. Rashi says from his bed. What is Rashi teaching us with that? Rashi's teaching us that about the character traits of this wicked man. That Pharaoh was seeing that all the warnings of Moshe were being fulfilled. And now Moshe says, everybody is going to die, all your firstborn. And Pharaoh was a firstborn, and it was a great shout in the whole land. And this person, what did he do? He went to sleep. He went to sleep. He had no problems going to sleep when there was such an outrage going on, without any fear. This is the wicked one that exists. Hold on 1 second.
But it happened at midnight, right?
What?
This all happened at midnight, correct? The first one?
The firstborn happened at midnight, yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, but if you, God forbid, if somebody was told that that your whole country is going to fall apart with all the firstborns killed, and then you have the peace of mind to be able to go to sleep, there's something very wrong with you. So, okay, verse 31. Vayikra Moshe Aaron Laila, and Moshe called to Aaron at night, Vayomer Kumu Tzu mitoch Ami, get up from my people, you and all the children of Israel, and go serve Hashem, just like he spoke. L'chu ivdu es Hashem kitabrachem. So this is what Jerry was saying. Moshe called to Moshe and Aaron at night, and he said, get up from my people, you and all the children of Israel. But this is, Jerry says, the first time he's called Bnei Israel, and go and serve Hashem like he spoke. Rashi tells us, Magid shayam mechazer al psacho ha'ir vitzoek, that he was going around to the entranceways of the city and crying out, where is Moshe? Where is Moshe? Where is Aaron? He was looking for them. He was desperate. He says, also the children of Israel. So Rashi does not agree with what Jerry's suggestion was. He says this is not a reference. He says this is a reference to the nation, not a reference to the nation, it's a reference to the children. He was saying, even the Bnei Yisrael, maybe it is Jerry's right, I'm not sure. He's saying also the children can leave at this point. Remember, he had said everyone can leave, but now he's saying, but he had said, except leave your children behind, and now he's saying even the children can go. He says, L'chu ivdu. Everything is like you spoke, and now like I spoke. Okay, so now verse 32. He says, Gam tzomchem gam karchem kachu, kasher dibartem velechu v'rachtem kamosi. He says, all of you should go, even your sheep and your cattle, and you shall bless me. Also, he wants you to get a bracha. Give me a bracha. So he says, what does it mean you shall bless me? Pray for me that I do not die, because I'm a firstborn. So he's saying, pray for me that I do not die. Okay, the next verse says, Vatechazak Mitzrayim. Yes.
I can't raise my hand because I'm close.
Right.
I suggested to my student this afternoon that maybe he thought that they wanted to curse him because sometimes in the Torah when it says Barech, it's actually the opposite, sarcastic, like Job's wife. She said Barech Elohim Bamut. So he says maybe you want to bless me like that, but I'm asking you to please not. You know, don't give me a blessing, don't give me a curse. Just leave me alone.
Well, wait, I don't understand. He's saying you shall
don't know.
bless me. He's saying bless
Yeah,
me.
but it could be like Job's wife, Barech Elohim Vamut. May God bless the Pharaoh and keep him far away from us. Anyway,
Mm. So right, he's not. So Rashi, Rabbi Yosef, is not asking that he be blessed. It says that Pharaoh is asking that Moshe pray for him.
Yes, but Job doesn't hasn't been born yet. How can Pharaoh refer to a character in the Bible that hasn't been born yet?
no, I was referring to the language, Jerry, not to the actual person. I was giving that as an example.
Oh, I see.
But
Okay.
that's okay. But anyway, just,
All right, well, we'll see. We have to think
and
about
he does know the word for
it.
praying. He said in Makat Fardel last week, he said
It's
Ha'atiru.
called, right, he says Atiru. Right, you're right, Rabbi
So
Yosef. Yeah.
anyway,
Okay, you have good points. Vatechazak Mitzrayim al-am, and the Egyptians were strong over the people in Mahero Shalcham and Aretz to quickly send them out, because they said Kulanu Meitim. They said all of us are dying, or they said all of us are dead. They said, "Wo kigzeras Moshehu." He said, "This is they didn't understand." Rashi says they didn't realize it was God. They thought Moshe was wrong because they said. They said they didn't realize, because what happened was they thought that everybody what happened was they said it's not like the decree of Moshe, because Moshe said only one person will die from each house. And then they were seeing all these other people die because they didn't realize that the women were having these adulterous relationships. So they thought that the plague was not exactly. Right? So that's why they said, send them out quickly. Vayisa amet b'tzeko terem yachmatz. And the people prepared the dough before it became chametz. Misharatam tzurot b'simlotam. Their leftovers were bound up in their garments. Al shechmam, on their shoulders. Rashi says the Egyptians did not let them tarry long enough. Mitzrim lo nichum l'shot kedei chimutz. Misharotam, Rashi says shiare matzah myrrh, the leftovers of the matzah and the myrrh. So they put up their leftovers in there. They had, because what were the Jewish people doing at this time? They were eating the Korban Pesach, and so they didn't have enough time to bake their bread. Why didn't they have enough time? Weren't they warned about this 2 weeks ago?
Yes, of course.
So how did they not have enough time? That's the question.
Right.
And then they took the leftovers. Rashi says shiare matzah myrrh, the leftovers of the matzah and the bitter herbs. and they put on their shoulders. So why did they have to carry on their shoulders? They had a lot of animals. This is what Rashi says. They loved the mitzvah of carrying the matzah. Some of you might have seen this custom that there are many Jews who have the custom of putting the matzah on their shoulders and walking around the Seder table. Anybody here ever see that custom?
Yeah, the Sephardic custom.
Sephardic custom.
Yes. Rachel Yagen told me that was a custom in her family.
And where was Rachel from?
From Spain, Spain and Turkey.
But when did her family come to Israel?
I don't know.
Okay, so she was a Sephardic Jew.
Yes, she was.
Uvnei Israel asu kedvar Moshe. The children of Israel did like Moshe spoke. Vayishavu Mitzrayim. Oh wait, anyway, I just see this is such a powerful Rashi, so I'd like to see if there is if they comment on it. They don't comment on that, but they say they took the dough. Okay, well. Okay, so it doesn't say anything. It says what's the next pasuk? V'nei Yisrael asuk kedvar Moshe. They did like the children of Israel did like Moshe spoke. Vayishalu Mitzrayim klei chasev u'klei zahav usmarot. And they asked from Egypt silver utensils and gold utensils and garments. Yes, Jerry, you had a question.
Yeah, we haven't answered the question. They had enough time to bake. They were told days in advance, get ready, you're going to be leaving.
Right.
They had enough time. Does Steinsaltz have an explanation of why this process seems to...
I don't have Rabbi Steinsaltz's Chumash. Does Rabbi Steinsaltz answer why they didn't have ready? I was thinking of my own answer, but does Rabbi Steinsaltz address that?
A little bit clear because they also got gold and silver that was given to them by the people. The Egyptians had to see the killing of the firstborn in order to give them double or triple their gold and silver. And that couldn't have happened until after this event. That's why they couldn't prepare for the journey.
Why? Because they didn't have the gold and the silver?
The Egyptians had.
Is that what Rabbi Steinsaltz says?
Jeff.
Oh, that's very nice. I was thinking the answer is, even though we know that salvation is coming, we're never ready for it. We're never ready. You never expect it. You never expect the redemption is going to come. You never expect, like it's a shock when the good news comes. And the human nature is so pessimistic that even when it comes, we're pessimistic about it. Yeah.
Well, can you please explain what your student said about gold?
Jeffrey. That's Jeffrey. Jeffrey is saying that they weren't prepared because they didn't get the gold and silver yet, so they thought they had time.
Well, they had to wait. They couldn't have gotten it from the Egyptians until the firstborn was killed.
But they could have baked the night before.
Baking.
It wouldn't have been fresh.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it has to do with the idea of the instantaneous redemption. That redemption will come in a moment, and we're not prepared for it. So therefore, we have to be prepared. No matter how many times, like the same thing will be said of us. God told us the redemption is going to come, yet we're unprepared for it. We're unprepared. Okay. So now, okay, you know what? Let us stop here. I just want to, we'll stop here for today to daven. A big shikoyach to everybody.